You're listening to the Breakaway Breakdown podcast, where we bring you interviews with some of the top ropers in the country, news about what's going on in the fastest sport on dirt, training tips for you and your horses, and so much more. I'm your host, Casey Allen. Let's jump in. Okay, guys, unless you've been living under a rock in breakaway roping land, you know that the battle for that last number 15 position to go to the NFBR was insane the last few weeks of the ProRodeo season. Okay, we had some of the best ropers in the game fighting it out for that qualifying spot. Now, it got really dramatic when Danielle Lohman pulled out a 1.8 second run to win Stephenville, Texas, just before the last few rodeos of the season. She won over $3,000 just off that run. After that weekend, it kind of came down to Danny and Josie Conner. Josie Conner was about $600 ahead of Danny, and she went all the way to Cumberland, Maine with Tonka and won both the rodeos back-to-back up there with 2.3 and 2.6 second runs to bring her total earnings to $48,138. And at that point, she had won enough to secure her position because Danny could not win enough in Fort Worth, Texas on the last day of the season to beat Josie out. Now, Josie just turned 19 years old a couple days after wrapping up her NFBR qualification, and I knew that her parents, Jade and Wendi Conner, had been on this insane roller coaster with her all year long. So, naturally, I had to give them a call whenever it was official and get their reactions and just see what they've been through this season. And I was also very curious because Josie's had so much success at such a young age, yet she still always seems humble to be around. She always seems friendly inside, outside of the arena. You know, she takes care of business. And I've talked to her before about how she views rodeo as a business at a very young age. So I was curious, and I called Wendi and Jade to not only get their reactions, but learn a little bit about what they did to make Josie the competitor and person that she is today. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this short conversation I had with them. And hopefully you parents out there, it gives you some insight into what it takes to raise a great competitor and a great human being. Now, our Resist All rookie coverage has been brought to you guys all year long by the folks who really believe in the rookies, and that is Resist All. So if you're in the market for your next felt hat, now that the weather's getting colder, make sure to check them out. All right. I know you guys don't want to hear me break down statistics. All right. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk, so let's just jump right in to this interview.
Hello.
Hey, Mama Conner.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you feeling?
We are great. We are actually headed on our way to Fort Worth. The traffic's pretty heavy, but we're trying to get there.
Oh, jeez. Who's with you guys?
It's just Jade and I, and that's Josie's dad.
Awesome. I get Mom and Dad on the same call?
Yes.
So how are you guys feeling? I know especially the last week has been crazy, so just kind of talk through what you guys and Josie have been through in the last week of rodeos.
Probably today I would say relieved. The last 2 weeks we've driven more in the last 2 weeks than we have all year. I thought we had a pretty light schedule while we were out there. I didn't let her go too crazy entering, and but then long drive home and had to hit a couple rodeos in Arkansas out of the way that we might not have normally gone to, kind of trying to catch up. And then last week was just never, ever go to the 4 or 5 rodeos that we went to if we weren't trying to catch the 15th hole. I think we drove almost 3,800 miles last weekend, which is, oh my goodness, we haven't driven anything compared to that this year. And so that was definitely taxing.
Wow, were you guys just like biting your nails every night waiting to hear how it went up in Maine?
Yes, I was, and we didn't have very good service there. Her aunt was going to try to give us a play-by-play, but didn't get any service while she was in the stands, had to kind of walk back away from the arena, so we didn't find out for a minute or two to after she roped. I think, I can't speak for Wendi, I don't really get very nervous or anxious, only every now and then, but the few times that I have not been with her, like there in San Juan, I really get anxious just because I don't know what's going on. And I guess probably the safety aspect, just if something would happen, you'd always want to be there, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Mama, how are you feeling?
I would say all year I've been anxious because it feels like we have been behind all year from the start since she was a rookie and, didn't get in at the buildings. And then when we left for California, I think we were like 48th in the standings. And it just felt like we've never really roped from behind like that, I guess, in her short little career. And so as a mama, you're anxious all the time. I think I actually was pretty calm once she got to Cumberland, and once I knew her horse was there safely. I think her dad's instructions were like, go eat some lobster and have a little fun while you're in Maine. I hope we never have to go back. So I think I was finally kind of relieved once she was there safely and her horse was there safely.
Awesome. And then, so let's talk about kind of your guys' decision to go out there this year and what the rodeo trail looked like for you guys as a family this year.
I don't know if you're going to want to have this on the record. I was against it. I wanted her to stay home and jackpot rope and junior rope because she's been sticking away so much money for the last 2 years. And I knew that there was going to be almost no path to profitability pro rodeoing, so I let her make the decision, but I wanted her to just stay around the house and for a couple more years, and hopefully when they got equal money in the breakaway and it paid the same as the men's event, then if she wanted to go out there and what I kind of consider just break-even roping, then I thought it made more sense when you get to the NFR and you could rope for real money, like the guys get to rope for. So just being truthful, that was my take on it. Then when she decided that, she really wanted to go her rookie year and try to make the NFR as a 18-year-old, I guess I got supportive pretty quickly, and we jumped in the truck and kind of tried not to talk about that anymore, just tried to get at the task at hand.
Did she make that decision before it was announced that the finals would be in Vegas just before the NFR, or was it still hanging in the balance?
They hadn't announced anything, but through all the phone calls I had made and the people that I thought knew what was sort of going on, and also having a little business experience, I knew they weren't breaking a contract that they already had, that they had 3 more years left on. So knew there was no way we were roping for equal money. And so I told Josie that at best, in my opinion, it was going to be about like it was last year, which is still good. I think this is everything has to get started, and you start at a ground level and work your way up. I just wanted her to know that there was no way she'd be roping for $30,000 go-rounds.
And I think that's interesting because I had talked to Josie this summer too, and she said that you guys had worked really hard from a young age to make sure that she understood that rodeo was a business and you had to treat it like a job. And kind of, I'd love to hear it from your guys' perspective, how you kind of made sure she stayed true to that. And I mean, I think people don't realize that these girls aren't making a ton of money out there. Like you said, it's not still the best financial thing, but they're out there doing it because they love it and they want to be there. So what have you guys done specifically, I guess, as parents to make sure she has a good grasp on that?
When Josie probably turned about maybe 16, maybe 15, I opened an account for her and said, I think you rope good enough to be profitable now, and if you run out of money, we'll figure it out. Come talk to me. And since that day until now, I've never paid another, besides the things parents pay for. Josie runs it all as a business, and she runs it. She writes down every stall she buys, every bag of shavings, keeps her own credit cards. Her and her mother get together and do her taxes before they send it to the CPA. She has everything documented. And because what I know is that I've seen this for the last 30 years, and I thought it was a broken model. I see so many successful ropers retire with no financial stability. And so I told Josie that I thought it was a broken model, that we had to do something to change that. And I have no idea if what we're doing is going to be right or not, but I knew that what the majority of people did wasn't going to work. And so we try to be very vigilant on keeping up with her expenses and, working with our partners, our sponsors, to make sure she's keeping up her end of the deal. So I think that's key. I don't know how you can, that's the only way, in my opinion, a breakaway roper can even be ahead right now, unless possibly Martha's had a phenomenal year. I'm sure, she's making some money just on in arena earnings, but it's hard if you just don't have that type of magical season. I think the jackpots are the key. I mean, I can tell you for Josie this year, if we've won 50,000 pro rodeo and she's won 3 times that jackpot in junior open and stuff, like, that's where the money's at. That's why I was encouraging. And I understand why everyone wants to get out there and rodeo. Everyone wants to keep score. It's competition. I 100% understand that, but we had 2 years left to open 19 and under events, and heck, she won more in 1 week at a junior event than we won all year pro rodeo, and she won 60,000 during the American Junior Open. So I just wanted to make sure that she was aware of, the money difference. And then, like I said, I 100% understood and was supportive when she decided that this is what she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. I honestly think that's awesome, because I know you guys might not love talking about it, but I think there's a lot of parents that do need to hear that and need to understand that you don't have to go broke to get your kid to the top. And that's not necessarily probably the best example for them.
Yeah. And when I don't want to bash the pro rodeos and say there's no money in it, and because we are at the ground level. And what I do know is I saw a graphic on the Cowboy Channel, the last 3 years, they started off with this many rodeos, and then the next year they had double, and then this year maybe double that. Like, it's going to get really good one day, in my opinion, and I really hope it is. I'm not bashing. I think a lot of people are doing the best they can, committees and sponsors, but that's the way I saw it. So I wanted to give Josie my perspective on it, and I thought Wendi kind of probably thought the same way as I did.
Mm. Well, I mean, just like last year, Taylor Hanchy got in with around 24,000, and this year it took Josie, over 48,000. So we know it doubled this year. That's huge.
Correct.
Also, I was talking to Wendi the other day, and she made the comment that to you guys, it was more important to have a good person than a good roper at the end of it.
That'll never change. That's something as parents that for us will never change. I think Wendi and I both are more excited to get a compliment when someone tells us that that she's a good kid or a nice person, or she spoke to their kid and was encouraging or something like that, as a whole lot more gratifying to me than when someone says, boy, that was a great run she made at Salt Lake City. I probably get more excited for the other stuff.
I think that's awesome. What are some tips that you guys would have for parents to make sure they're keeping their kids grounded and make sure they're staying focused on the person, not the roper?
It's pretty easy to stay grounded as hard as it is to win.
Let the rodeo do it to them?
Yeah, I mean, just being honest, if you go out there and pro rodeo much with the luck of the draw and the tough setups and 170 girls everywhere, it's not hard to stay grounded.
So, Kat, what I would say is the same thing we've told Josie her whole life is, roping is something we do as a family because we absolutely have loved it. We never envisioned any of this for a breakaway roper. Roping will just be something we do together as a family. We never want it to be who Josie is.
And do you guys think that there's anything that could compare, like, they can prepare those kids for pro rodeo out there, or is it just something they've got to figure out?
I think everything from the junior levels definitely prepares them. I mean, I actually think that there are 10 other girls in the 19 and under right now in Texas that are going to step right into the pros and be competitive. I'm not saying they're going to beat Martha Angelone every day by any means, but I mean, you saw Haley Williams stepped right in there, and Brady Good stepped in when she got out, and Jordy, like those younger girls, and I think guys too. Riley Webb's, Josie Connors, Harley Pryor's coming up. They've had the opportunity to rope in so many big money situations that I think that it's a fairly smooth transition into the pros. I will say Josie did struggle with that this year. She made 3 mistakes in 3 major short rounds that I wasn't expecting her to make, because it seems like she's been in so many of those tight situations in the junior events or even the big open ropings, high call, winning the BFI or the Oklahoma's Richest or any of that. And we struggled this year at the pros, so it is a little different. I think when you factor in the pressure of being at a pro rodeo, maybe being on TV, trying to keep score for the standings, I mean, I do think there will be a transition period. Riley Webb struggled with it some this year too. He looked like he figured it out pretty good by the end of the year. But I think there's so many youth events, those kids come in, I think they come in pretty polished as compared to 10 years ago. I think it would have been more of a struggle because there weren't so many big youth events.
And so she had an injury partway through the season. What did that recovery process look like, and what made her decide to get back to it? Or was it just she was lasered in on the finals?
I think so. After Salt Lake City, she had her good night at the WCRA, and then we stopped at Cheyenne the next day and did not have any luck. Calf ran, and she ran him a long ways and missed him. So she was probably a little bummed out about that, because Cheyenne was a big rodeo. If you could win 20,000 there, you could maybe coast for the rest of the year. And then at a youth event the next day, she was warming her horse up, and it slipped, trotting a circle, and broadside and fell on her. Broke a bone where the big toe connects to the foot. It broke, clean break, and it broke it into the joint right there. And so, and sprained her ankle. So we came home. They put her in the air cast, and first 2 weeks she didn't say much about it because it was I think a lot of discomfort. And then about the 3rd week is when I think Clay Smith was on TV roping in a cast, and it was just got unbearable after that for about 3 days. And finally I told her to go outside and rope on the iron horse, similar to a speed trainer, and see if she could put some weight in her walking boot. And so she could, and we ran 2 calves at home, and we left the next day. And then we roped for 3 weeks. So 3 weeks at home, and then roped 3 weeks in the walking boot. And she really struggled in the boot the first 2 weeks for sure. She couldn't stand up very good, and she was missing and foul roping a lot of calves. She really kind of struggled. So luckily we got a couple checks, but not many, but she really did struggle for those two weeks in a boot.
So we're blaming Clay Smith for it. That jerk.
When she saw that night on TV, that she was pretty much, and then also I think they kind of passed her up in the rookie that week, maybe. And
I think that was the week she got bumped.
And so, yeah, she hadn't said too much up until that point, but she probably got bumped in the rookie, and Clay won Dodge City, and yeah, it was kind of pretty much it's time to go from there on out.
So was there a mental change that pulled her out of it, or was it not having the pain in her foot as much?
I don't know. You mean to actually start her winning?
No, yeah, like when she was not having luck and then turned it around a little bit.
So I don't think that it was too painful. I don't. I just think that Breakaway, especially when you weigh 80 or 90 pounds like Josie does, is so much fundamentals, and you have to have stirrup pressure, and you have to be up in the front of the saddle, and you have to use your legs and your core and everything to get the rope to the calf because she's so small. And she just couldn't do it, honestly. If you would go back and watch some of those videos, she's blown back in the back of the saddle, and we missed like 3 calves the first week, and they all hit in the middle of the calf's back. Like didn't have enough strength kind of to get it there. And I'm not trying to make an excuse.
Oh, no. Was she holding the horn or anything, or was she trying to rope her normal style?
She tried to rope the normal style, and the Dutch horse, it just wasn't working. So I suggested that she get back on Tonka, and she kind of got on him the week of San Juan and got a check or two, just because he was a little more free running and he was smaller, easier for her to ride. And then about the time, I guess she took her boot off at Puyallup, and she rode Tonka the first round, and no fault of his, and no fault of the boots or injuries. Josie just did not do good. Scored bad, wrote bad, drew bad, and then got on Dutch in the second round, and it seemed like kind of things started place there, and then did not have a chance at Pendleton. Just had a calf with a terrible track record, outran everybody, and it outran her too. She pulled up, and then I think she placed at 8 out of the next 10. So I think once she got the boot off and got back on Dutch, but I also think too, she knew that if she wanted to make the NFR, she had zero room for error, basically, for the last 2 weeks. I think she got pretty focused, and she felt like she could ride a little better without the boot. I think that gave her confidence, and I think she thought that she had no room for error, that if she wanted to make the NFR, she probably couldn't make very many mistakes from here on out.
And this might be a mama question. I know that, like, people might not realize that all the girls out there that are fighting on the bubble, you guys are all still friends. And, she's been so close with Jackie and Danny, and I know you guys are close with all those girls. So can you just speak to what it's like watching them all fight for it?
Man, it's really hard because, doing this for the last several years with Josie, I video these girls. We help each other when we can. And, from a mama's perspective, it's hurtful. Like, I didn't want Danielle to do bad at Stephenville. I wanted her to make her run, it's just, you wish they all could be there because they deserve it. And I'll tell you this, just from being out there this year, I thought we were prepared. We've rodeoed with Josie hard, amateur in Texas for several years since she was 13. And, I thought, oh yeah, we got this. The road's hard, and these ladies are strong. Like, they are out there. Some of them don't have help. And kudos to them, I know Jade and I are exhausted, and so we're blessed to be able to do this with Josie, and, are excited and hope they all rope good. Like we don't pull against them. We just know Josie's got to go do her job and then see what happens, and we hope they do their best and see what happens. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster, of emotions from my point of view. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. The time we've got to spend with Josie and the memories we've made, I've enjoyed that part of it.
Awesome. So what do things look like from here? What is anybody going to sleep in the next month, or are you guys just rolling right into some jackpots? What's going on till Vegas?
Well, so we drove home from Florida and got in at 2 or 3 in the morning, and then we sent Tonka out with Riley Webbs in his rig with Corson, the young man that works for Riley that was driving for Riley all summer. I'm assuming you know that Riley is his boyfriend, a good kid. He seems to really work hard at his craft. And so when we got home, Corson went out, Josie flew out, my wife went to New Orleans for 3 days of meetings. I tried to catch up for 3 months worth of work around the house, and I did tell Josie and Riley this week that after kind of San Angelo Roping Fiesta, I thought they should really scale back on what they were going to enter between now and the NFR, and we should try to rest and get practice, workout, get ready to go. So if you're asking our schedule, I told them that I thought they should scale back a little bit. Now they do have some good things. I mean, next weekend Josie has the circuit or Hanchies are open. The week after that, the circuit finals is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we leave straight from there and go to Oklahoma's Richest to match rope Jackie for 7,500. So we have 2 big weeks coming up, and then but after kind of San Angelo was the following week. I thought they should try to get some practice in and some rest.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you guys feel like I missed, or you guys want to make sure that people know what it's like, I guess, parenting a kid trying to make her first NFR?
It was fun. I think we met a lot of really nice people. A lot of people were very gracious and opened their homes and their arenas and let us stay there. And we didn't practice a whole lot, but it's hard to do it without, very nice of a lot of people to let us just stay at their place and plug in and wash clothes and eat and rest, and met a lot of good people and saw a lot of very pretty places. So, I mean, it was definitely a stressful year for us and long. We were away from home a lot, but I really enjoyed it. I thought we met a lot of nice people and got to see a lot of cool stuff.
I would close by saying, most people think rodeo is not a team sport. I totally have to disagree, because I would say we had an amazing team and support system out there with us at home, and we couldn't have done any of this without all of that, because it literally took a village to get it done. And so I think that is something that, Josie learned that this season too. I think if you would ask her, she would really tell you the importance of her team.
Awesome. Well, I will let you guys continue to fight the traffic. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. I know you guys are pretty worn out, so.
No, thank you.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, girl. See you later.
All right. I hope you guys really enjoyed this conversation. I have a ton of respect for both Jade and Wendi Conner. Jade is an outstanding trainer, competitor, businessman. Wendi is a career woman and one of the biggest hearted people and such a great mom. So I have a lot of respect for them. I hope that you guys enjoyed that conversation. And gosh, it is time, guys. We are getting ready for the NFBR. This is happening. Make sure to check out a link on our site, breakawayropingjournal.com, to get your tickets. Go support these girls. They even have a great ticket and hotel room package to help give you a discount. And of course, make sure to check out breakawayropingjournal.com to stay up on everything going on in the industry. We're going to have profiles on all the girls going to the finals and just a whole lot of fun stuff leading up to NFBR. And of course, we will continue to keep you guys in the loop on various jackpots and other associations as they are wrapping up. So since we're talking about business smarts, I do want to make sure to tell you guys that Josie is one of our breakawayroping.com coaches. So check out breakawayroping.com for a lot of videos on how, Josie became fundamentally the roper that she is and the things that she has done with her roping and her riding to get to the level that she's at. Like I said, talking about business smarts, the cost of breakawayroping.com is less than what it would cost to get a lesson with somebody like Josie. And you can start it off with a free trial. So check it out, and we will be back soon with a full episode. Thanks so much, you guys.